Welcome back to Cheddar, ladies and gentlemen. Our next guest struggled with chronic illness for 20 years and often felt helpless and isolated, so he worked with specialists, neurological experts, and even a kung fu grandmaster, that's true, to develop a method to deal with pain, setbacks, and overall trauma. Joining us now is Jim Curtis. He's the author of The Stimulati Experience. Did I pronounce that right, Jim?
You did. You sure
there we
did.
go. The Stimulati Experience. Thank you very much for joining us. It's really good to have you.
Thank you for having me here.
Okay, so let's start right there. We'll get to the book in just a second. What do you tell people who are dealing with various types of pain, and perhaps they look to someone like you who's gone through the experience, perhaps on the other side of it? What are the biggest pieces of advice that you give them?
And guess what? Everybody's dealing with something.
Sure.
Right? Everybody has some kind of pain, and it's about inflammation. And whether you have an inflamed mind and you need to get an anti-inflammation for that, or your body is actually in inflammation, you have to do things that will calm it. And the biggest piece of advice is to let go a little bit, because it will pass.
Now, you have 9 skills for getting past pain. So how much of these are mental versus physical? You know, where do you start to break those up and differentiate between the two?
So I believe everything starts with the mind. They're all mental, and that manifests into your body. So I wrote a piece recently about how you can lose weight without any exercise or change in your eating. That's great, right?
Really?
It's of course not recommended, but once you get happy and calm in your head, then it translates to the rest of your body.
Sure.
And it's not as easy as saying I'm going to be calm and happy.
Yeah.
You actually have to get through the steps that allow you to resolve some things and then make a new story for you, the way you're going to move forward.
I'm curious, from your perspective, what are some of the biggest ailments or afflictions that you see for people, or perhaps they're coming to you personally and saying, I'm struggling with X, Y, and Z? Are there recurring issues that you see, or are these perhaps societal
Anxiety.
issues?
This book is for someone with anxiety, with someone with stress, someone with a ton of worry. All of those things can be calmed, right? I'm not saying that there's a cure for anxiety or your depression is not real. It is. But there are ways that you can go about calming that, so that you can live a life that's happier and smoother and calmer and cooler and confident, and you don't have to be in a whirlwind all the time.
Now, when we think about which skill has the most impact, because I need to know what to apply to my own life after this too.
Right.
Which skill has seemed to have the greatest impact on your audience, readers, or those who just come in contact with you from a myriad of different experiences?
I talk a lot about 2 things. One is your feeling of inadequacy. Am I adequate? Do I love myself? Am I good enough? I believe it all starts there, right? Because if you don't feel adequate, I'm not good enough for that job. If you have that little voice in the back of your head that's kind of putting you down all the time, I'm not good enough for the promotion, I'm not good enough for her or him, I don't look great today, then you have to start to confront that first. Because once you start to tell yourself the opposite, fear goes away. Because it's all based in fear. I fear that I'm not good enough. And once you can start to talk yourself out of that, everything gets easier.
Is today's increased emphasis and social importance on social media really as debilitating an element to this world as I suspected? Is these feelings of inadequacy, these feelings of constant comparison?
The answer is
what
yes.
has this done for this world? Are we in a downward spiral here?
Look, everybody's happier, more successful than you,
Then everyone is,
prettier than you. They got a better boat than you.
Yeah, of course.
The car's better than
Everyone's
you.
a
That's
better
what
boat
social
than I
media
do.
does for you.
Yeah, of course, exactly. So how do you combat that? What do you tell people to do? Because I'm sure people who say, well, I have to keep my Facebook page, I have to keep Instagram going.
Right, and I'm on social media, right, a lot. So I'd say treat it like a loaded gun, very carefully. Take breaks. Make sure you lock it up and take out the bullets. Don't be on Facebook all the way until you go to bed. And don't wake up and the first thing you do is check Instagram.
That colors your day.
Yeah, it totally colors your day. You need to wait. Getting up in the morning and getting your mindset straight will take out the anxiety and pain for your whole day. If you roll out of bed late, get dressed, throw something in your mouth while you're checking Instagram, you're in trouble.
Now, how has some of your previous work really influenced this book as well, too?
So my previous work?
Yeah.
Well, this brings back a lot of memories. I started as a trader on the floor of the exchange.
Is that right?
Yeah.
So welcome back.
Thank you. It was the American Stock Exchange. I don't know if you guys have any, but I was an options clerk on the American Stock Exchange, and I was terrible at that job. Really bad.
Right.
Yeah, really bad at it. So I went to work for a startup company called On Health. Okay. And On Health was purchased by WebMD, so I was one of the early team members there at WebMD. And then we went on to start companies like Everyday Health, and Remedy Health Media.
Sure.
And what I've been able to do is work with millions of people that have been suffering with some kind of condition while I was working through my own condition. We did a lot of research and we found some basic elements that are the same. Whether you have rheumatoid arthritis or you have anxiety and depression.
Right.
And those things are that you have to snap yourself out of survival mode. And that's the mode that says there is no better than this. I'm just going to survive today. And
Survival mode, okay.
that's what I call survival mode. It's not looking for what is, it's feeling of this is as good as it gets.
Right.
And when you tell yourself that, guess what? It's as good as it gets.
Right, exactly.
But when you start to tell yourself there's more, and like we do, we create, in this book, there's stories of people that were able to find that more
Wow.
and get to it. And if they can, you can. And if I could, others can too.
Do you meditate? I'm curious,
Yeah,
if you don't mind me asking.
I do meditate.
And do you feel like that's an important part of the process? Because that's something you hear a lot of people make firm recommendations on across the board, to your last point, almost regardless of what your particular affliction is. A lot of people say, hey, mindfulness, staying in the moment, learn to turn off the phone for a little bit, focus on your breathing, on the here and now. Is that an important piece of this whole puzzle for you? Has it been successful?
There's a reason why everybody's talking about meditation.
Is that right? I would think so.
It's because
Yeah,
it works.
exactly. Okay, fair
It's
enough.
good. It works. You have to settle your mind. You have to settle your mind down and think about other things. And people say meditation, I can't do it. I can't clear my mind. I can't let it go blank. And it's not always about that. It's about seeding your mind or an intention of something else that you can focus on in a calm
Was that
way.
seeding?
Putting a seed of a
seeding.
thought in your
Okay,
mind.
got it. Oh, interesting.
All right. Now, is there a social aspect to sales of the book as well, too? And if so, tell us about that.
Is there a social aspect?
Social aspect to sales of the book.
Well, there's no social aspect.
Okay.
Yeah, not yet.
All right.
Maybe we'll get there. But the book is available in any bookstore. It's available online on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, anywhere you want to get it. It's doing well right now. It's because it's really hitting what people need. People are feeling a lot of anxiety
Sure.
and tension, and it focuses on getting to the next level of your life and connecting your mind with your body so you're not running around with like a chicken with your head cut off all the time. You can actually say, oh, I'm not going to let my emotions control me.
Sure. My final question for you here, I don't mean this in terms of personal afflictions or concerns for you, but what most concerns you from a social, societal level about directions that we are heading? Social media is not slowing down. The rate of the startup aggressive culture is not slowing down. The emphasis of work over play is not slowing down.
Right.
What worries you about what is facing our society in the next even 5 years?
You know, what really worries me is the media right now because I think we're focusing on the wrong things. You know, we're getting wrapped up in these stories that are sensational, and it gets everybody crazy. So it's not necessarily the media, but it's what we're interested in, right? It's not grounded. It could be, I read something in the Rolling Stones today that said something about, Trump couldn't get higher ratings if he was jumping off Mount Kilimanjaro with a Kardashian on his back. It made me laugh.
Sure.
And it's like, okay, that says something.
Yeah, for
and
sure.
it worries me.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, we'll have to leave it there. The book is The Stimulati Experience. The author is Jim Curtis. Join us here. Oh, I have so many more questions. We'll have to leave it there. Jim, thanks for taking the time, my friend.
Yeah, thank you.
Very nice to have you.